Good evening, listeners, and welcome back to United Fancast. I'm your host, Darren, and my co-host tonight with me is Soccer is Football. Say hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Tonight we have another special episode, this time to please those that follow FC Barcelona. Our guest tonight is a Belgian man named Jeroen, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah, somewhat.
Who took the time out tonight to come and give his opinions on the club and answer all of our questions. So thanks again for coming out, and we welcome you to the show.
All right, cheers for having me over.
We will briefly go over Barcelona's season in La Liga and Champions League both. Talk about other teams in La Liga like Barcelona. Not Barcelona, but Real Madrid, Atletico, Malaga, and the others. But more on that. We'll compare Tito Villanova's first season work with Pep Guardiola's work, and finally ask about other light personal questions to Jeroen here about supporting Barcelona. So let's go ahead and get started. So Jeroen, how's Barcelona done this season? What are your comments on that?
Well, there's been a lot of criticism as of late on the performances of the team, and don't disagree with all of them. I think they are a bit uncalled for. You know, we still won La Liga, and we have played some amazing football in the first half of the season. Which is what's important to me. Winning La Liga is our prime target, and we did do that in some fashion with a new manager. So I'm pretty pleased about the season. Of course, we got beaten extremely hard in the semi-finals of the Champions League by Bayern Munich, but I actually predicted that as well. The team was clearly exhausted. Many players were not looking as motivated as they should have been. And, Tito Villanova had been out for a couple of months with his cancer treatments. So all in all, I think it's been a good season for us, even though a couple of flaws have clearly been unearthed. Our defense is to shreds, really, when Puyol is not there. Our keeper is leaving, and we really need a new keeper. But all in all, I'm pretty pleased with the season.
Okay, that's good. I'm pretty sure. I really wondered why Messi didn't start that in that second leg for the semifinal for
Bayern Munich.
Yeah, sorry, well, Bayern. Yeah, I wonder why he didn't. I guess it's because of his injury. I guess, or
yeah, exactly. I mean, clearly Messi is a pivotal player for our team, but. He was still injured that time. He played the weekend before, and it was very visible he shouldn't have. Even though he made a difference that game again, he was looking quite weak, and he was just not his usual energetic self, you know. And then when we faced the Bayern Munich, he was only a substitute again, I believe. That was the first leg. In the second leg, he didn't play at all, because I think we all knew the game was over before the second leg started. And, Messi was just unfit. His injury is still not over. He got injured again last game against, who was it again? We played, let's check it out. Right, we played Atletico that game. So it looks like his season is over, and he should be rested until the start of the next season. And he was, during both Bayern games, really not his 100% self. So, yeah.
So, I'm curious, looking at Barca's season, like you said, I think they started off in record-breaking fashion. What key thing really turned your season around, especially in Champions League? I guess how early did things start going south? When did they start showing signs of going down?
Yeah, I've been breaking my head about that one as well. I think it was definitely the point where Tito Villanova, our coach, had to go to New York for his treatments of his cancer. And you could see that the team was extremely motivated until that point. That was about January. And everything started slagging off when he left. So he was very much a man we missed starting January. And before he left to New York, we played extremely well. I mean, I think we only lost one game from August to January, and that wasn't even an important game. We were leading La Liga with 16 points ahead of Atletico Madrid. Real Madrid were even in third position. Now that Villanova went missing, it was clear that the motivation was gone for several players, mainly Daniel Alves, Gerard Piqué, even Sergio Busquets, and I think some of the attacking players as well. David Villa's injury last year, his broken leg, made him a lesser player as well. He was no longer the clinical striker we knew from his Valencia days. And when everything depends on Messi like that, yeah, you're screwed when he's injured. So yeah, we don't have a goal scorer. We used to have one in David Villa, but he broke his leg. Alexis Sanchez wasn't scoring until recently, when it was too late, by the way. So yeah, when you see that several key players are no longer motivated and they look jaded, then it's going to go wrong, especially against a great team like Bayern Munich.
It's interesting that you mention motivation. I'm curious, how would you describe what exactly Villanova brings to the team? Because I feel like Barca had the change in the team with Tito there and without him there is pretty stark. Do you think it's just motivation? What else do you think he brings to the team?
Oh, well, Villanova has done some great things with the team that Pep Guardiola did not do. The first thing I loved about deal with teams Guardiola was not in the past. Especially the recent past, the last 2 years of Guardiola, most teams had us figured out. And they knew how to play against us, just fall back and hope for the best. And occasionally it would work. And Villanova is more of a versatile coach, if you ask me. Guardiola is the purist, the Cruyff student, and he always thought we had to build up carefully from the back, possession-based football. But Tito Villanova is more direct if we have the chance. Guardiola always thought we had to carefully build up the attacks. But I think, and Tito Villanova uses that approach as well, that if you have a good chance, you have to take it. You don't always have to hold on to your philosophy and play the kind of football the fans expect from you, but seize the chance if the chance occurs. And that's what Villanova has been great at, especially the first half of the season. We were able to counter-attack if there was a chance to counter-attack. And that's what he brought.
I just want to ask about the transfers, because I know under Pep you guys brought in some players that were a bit questionable. Others were pretty top class. But how do you compare those that were brought under Pep to those that are brought to the club by Villanova? Do you rate them more better than Pep's transfers, or equal to?
Well, first of all, Villanova has, of course, always been the right-hand man for Guardiola. He's been hugely influential, probably more so than many people think or know, as well in the transfer policy as in the tactical decisions Guardiola made on the pitch. So I don't think that the transfer policy changed at all, to be honest. Guardiola's only been gone for a year. I think the transfers made in the summer were largely due to his influence as well. Sanchez, for example, has been a player Guardiola would have gotten as well if he was still our coach. A guy like Song, perhaps not, but I'm not sure about that. It just surprised me. Someone like Song was bought from Arsenal, and I knew it was because the club wanted to make him a central defender, just like we did with Mascherano. Even though both are not defenders but midfielders, and they clearly still are. I mean, you can see their position. Defenders should play. But anyway, the transfers. Well, yeah, of course. After this season, you can say some aren't what they were supposed to be, but a guy like Alexis Sanchez has been really great for us. I don't think you can just say, oh, he didn't score as much as you'd expect at Barcelona, and that's why he's rubbish. You know, he's given the team so much more than just goals or assists. He works hard, he creates space for everyone, he links up well with Fabregas and Messi.
Yeah,
and
Sanchez is a crafty player, in my opinion. I don't think he's a
think
flop.
So?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
very smart player.
I don't.
Yeah.
I think, especially as of late, he's shown that he just needed confidence, and without confidence, no striker, especially not a new one at a club, can play well. And in his last 10 or 15 games, he's been creating a goal or scoring a goal every game, sometimes more than one. If he has the confidence, then he's a great dribbler. He can take on several players, just like Messi in his early days. And well, he works hard defensively as well. I think he's still the player. He can still become the player everyone expected him to be. So about Song, though, Alexander Song, he's not known bad for us, but he's just not a player Barcelona needs. He doesn't fit in our system anywhere. We have Sergio Busquets, who's simply a better defensive midfielder, and Song is not a defender. He is not right to play in the midfield for Barcelona either. So, yeah, I think it's probably time for him to go again, even though it's not his fault.
Okay, and I heard that a leading figure at Barcelona was quoted as saying that you need 3 or 4 more purchases that would be made this upcoming summer transfers. Who are they in your opinion, and who do you think needs to go to make room for those players to come in at Barcelona?
Yeah, it's a bit early to talk about transfers, but there are of course rumors, as there always are. And at first it looked certain Mats Hummels from Dortmund would join Barcelona to stabilize the defense. I was of course very excited by that as a Dortmund fan. In the first place, I was disappointed because if Hummels would leave Dortmund, it would severely cripple their team. But at the other hand, he's such a great defender. He would seriously bring stability to Barcelona, which lacked the entire season long. But Tito Villanova apparently said that he didn't want Mats Hummels because he was too similar to Gerard Piqué, which I do not agree with. I mean, yeah, of course, he's tall, he's not very fast, but he's gifted, he's very solid in defense. Piqué should be as well, but in recent years, Piqué has not been reliable or solid at all since he started. I'm not sure if that has anything to do with it, but I think it does. He's not been the reliable defender we needed, so I think Mats Hummels would have been great for us, but looks like Villanova doesn't want him, so we probably won't get him. And then there's a couple of other rumors. Of course, Neymar, but he's linked with every big club. I don't think he should be a priority as well, even though I rate him very highly. Then there's, let's see, oh yeah, keeper, because Valdez announced he was leaving the club a year from now on. I would really like a tall goalkeeper like Thibaut Courtois. He speaks Spanish. He's adapted really well to the league and to the country as well. He's fantastic in dealing with crosses or set pieces, and I think he would be just perfect for Barcelona. The fact that Chelsea can't keep him and Petr Cech probably makes the deal more interesting as well. But I'm not sure if the Barcelona board has the same way of has the same idea as I do. Because it looks like they will get, another Valdez in Pepe Reina. And that's it basically. Those three, Neymar, Hummels, and a goalkeeper are the ones that are linked with us. I think the priority should be a central defender in the first place, a goalkeeper in the second, and our attack and midfield is actually pretty good as long as the defense is okay. It's just that in the second half of this season, they've had to work a lot more than they normally should because the defense was so unstable and unreliable. So if a guy like Messi has to track back all the time, if Xavi and Busquets have to work hard in defense, then you know they're not going to be 100% in attack. So I think the defense has to be the priority, and then everything else will sort itself out.
Okay, and one more final thing on transfers before we move on. I'm hearing now that United are interested in Fabregas. What do you feel on that? Do you think you would actually sell Fabregas to us, or keep him and let him play in the team, or sell him, get the cash, and promote players in the youth team like Thiago, for example? Since Fabregas is 26 after all, he could move on and develop somewhere else, and you have Thiago, who's very top talent. You think he could integrate in your team later on, or do you agree of letting Fabregas go or keeping him?
I would really hate it if we sold Fabregas. Not only is he a favorite of mine, but I think he's a very versatile midfielder. He can play anywhere on the axis of the central midfield. In the Xavi position, even Iniesta's position. He can master all of those positions, and he's of course an extremely good player who links up with the teammates well normally. But he is, or at least he has become at Barcelona, pretty inconsistent, and in his role as the false nine, the striker role at Barcelona, he often has to occupy that spot, and he's just not a striker. I understand why we play him there, because the qualities a false nine needs are qualities Fabregas has as well. But you can see he doesn't have that killer instinct that a striker really needs. And so if we'd sell him, I would understand, but I would hate to see him go, because I think he can fill the spot Xavi now has at the team more than anyone else, more than even Thiago, who I think is a more natural attacking midfielder. And Fabregas is at his best in the central midfield role, the role he had at Arsenal, and the role he potentially could play at a team like United as well. But we never use him as a central midfielder. We always use him as a utility player on the right, as a false nine, as an attacking midfielder. And he's not reliable in that position. Sometimes he's great, sometimes he's just crap, and you don't see him all game long.
Okay, I guess we'll move on to the next question.
Yeah, I have a question actually. I was wondering, why do you think Guardiola actually decided to take a year out of football and step down? Why do you think he decided to leave Barcelona? What's his real reason?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm glad you asked it. Well, I think Guardiola is as much a Barcelona fan as any Barcelona fan there is, because not only did he grow up in Barcelona, not only was he a great player there and a coach, but he really believes that if it's best for the club to leave, then he should leave. He's selfless like that, I think. And he knew he couldn't inspire the players after that last year anymore. So I'm almost 100% certain he left because he thought it would be best for the club. It's not because, I don't know, he wanted to make more money or find a new challenge. It's because he couldn't motivate half the team as much as they had to be anymore. He said that himself several times. He didn't have the energy anymore to inspire the players the way they should be, and that's why he left. And that transitional year he spent in New York with his family, well, I think that's what he needed to reload himself to have the energy to inspire a team like Bayern Munich in the future. And well, now he's back. I believe him when he says he's ready to coach again.
Why do you think? Why do you think that Guardiola wasn't able to? You said he wasn't able to motivate their players anymore. Why do you think that? Because he's won, two or three Champions League titles. Exactly,
that's the reason. He's won so much that if you are a player and you've won the league 5 times, you've won the Copa 3 times, you've won the Champions League 2 or 3 times, depending on how long you've been at Barcelona. well, it's difficult to become motivated time and again for every single game. I completely understand that, and several players don't need motivation. You know, you guys like Messi, Iniesta, Puyol, they are always 100% if they can, if they're not injured. But other guys are, you know, more human, just like you and me. They need motivation from their coach. Good examples are Piqué, who has not been the same for 3 or 2 years. Alves, Busquets, even though he's still young. You know, that they started to play with less focus, less directness in their game, and you could see there was a lack of motivation. And if Guardiola couldn't motivate them, well, then it was time to leave for the best interests of the club.
Okay, I guess we'll move on to the next question. Next question's how do you think Real did this year, even though they're close rivals?
Right. Well, Real, you know, they're very big rivals, of course.
Of course.
And I think they've had a pretty poor season because, first of all, they didn't win anything except, you know, what was it? In August they did win something. But, you know, Mourinho, if you have Mourinho as your coach, you are expected to win a lot of trophies. If you don't, you can say it's a failure because they should have at least won the Copa. And I think them being out of the Champions League, which is something they really wanted to win, it's La Decima. La Decima is the 10th Champions League victory for them. It hasn't come in 8 years. And I think it's been a failure for them. Even though they beat Barcelona several times, that was probably the only thing they could be happy about. And to me, it seems that Real Madrid in recent years have transformed themselves into a team able to beat Barcelona, but not able to win trophies. They would definitely have lost against Bayern Munich as well. Well, they lost against Dortmund. They lost the league to us. They were, well, about the same level of Atletico Madrid, I would say. And for a team as big as that, with such good players, it's just not good enough. And that's why I think they have had a poor year. And they should really rebuild with a new coach towards the next years.
Well, speaking of Real Madrid, there's been a lot of speculation with Mourinho being on his way out the back door this time. How do you see Real Madrid's activity this summer? Do you think Mo's expected to leave at this point? Do you see big changes in the squad for your biggest rivals next year?
Well, I think it's almost certain Mourinho is going. He's not the kind of guy to manipulate the media like that if there's not a good reason for it. And I think we've all heard his conversations. He's clearly indicating he wants to go back to Chelsea where he is loved, you know. And so yeah, he's out. I have no idea who will become their next manager. It could be Pellegrini, it could be Ancelotti, but whoever it is, it should be someone respectable, I think, because Mourinho, he's the kind of guy who's controversial, who is definitely going to plant seeds of hatred into the opposition just because he thrives on that. And when you haven't had a good year with him at the helm, you know, you have to find a coach who's not completely the opposite, but who is the opposite in the media at least, because you have to regain some of the respect you've lost during those years. And the players are also fed up with him. You could see how some of his favorites over the past couple of years have turned against him as well. Ronaldo, Pepe, even Ramos. So yeah, he's gone. They should get a new manager, but I'm not so sure if they have to get a lot of new players, because they have a splendid team. And a new coach might be able to perform better than Mourinho with them. So yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, I was actually gonna ask you next. You know, are Barca fans going to be the most happy that Mourinho is gone? Especially because it seems he's gotten a bit of momentum in the Clásicos.
I don't think that's why we will all be happy if he leaves. I think it's because we Barca faithful, we have been able to respect the opposition and especially our rivals, as long as they were respectful to us. And Mourinho was definitely not respectful to Barcelona. And now that he's gone, I kind of hope someone like Pellegrini or Ancelotti to come over, because those are coaches you can respect, and they will transform Real Madrid into a respectable rival again. And I look forward to that. I mean, I honestly don't care that much. They beat us in the past. They might beat us in the future several times, more than we beat them perhaps. But to me, it's all about a healthy rivalry. And Mourinho made it more of a relation based on hatred than on respect for the opposition. I think you United fans used to have the same with Liverpool, even though Liverpool is they're not the team they used to be. But you love to hate them, but you also respect them because they always play well. They give you fantastic games when you face them. And that's what makes football great. And someone like Mourinho just ruined that for me. The Clásicos are the worst I've ever seen, even though they are more famous than they ever were as well. But I really look forward to better and Clásicos where good sportsmanship is displayed, but also great football.
Yeah. Just now getting into La Liga on a whole, the league is... I kind of don't want to say or make you mad, but it is kind of a two-horse race between Real and Barcelona. But do you think there's any other potential title contending teams next season, or like
no?
Others
actually, I completely agree with that. I never deny that either. I won't deny it because it's simply true. I just look at the way what do you call it? The revenue from the media or the television revenues are distributed amongst the Spanish teams. It's completely unfair. I'm a Dortmund fan as well, and in Germany at least it's fair. The small teams get just as much as Dortmund and Bayern Munich, and that's what makes competition great. It encourages good competition, while in Spain it's I believe like 50% of all the revenues go to Real Madrid and Barcelona, which is just not fair for smaller teams. Even big teams like Atletico Madrid or Valencia suffer from it and lose their best players to us or Real Madrid or foreign teams all the time, and that's just not good for La Liga.
And you mentioned the TV revenue structure. You said it was unfair to the smaller clubs. How do you think there's a way to change it so everybody could get an equal piece of it?
Simple. I think a consensus just has to be reached between all teams that the distribution of all the revenue is more equal. Perhaps not as equal as it is in Germany, but more equal at least, because right now it's just unfair. I mean, Valencia produce great players all the time, as do Sevilla, Real Madrid as well, but they keep selling them. I mean, Juan Mata, for example, is a great example. He's from the academy from Madrid, but I never even gave him a chance. Barcelona, of course, always produces talent, but the thing is, talents from Valencia go to big clubs as soon as they are interested, because those clubs just can't compete with a team like Barcelona or Real Madrid. So Jordi Alba, for example, is a fantastic player. After his good World Cup, Barcelona immediately got him for like half his worth. I think we paid 10 million, even though he's worth a lot more than that. So yeah, I think the distribution of the media revenue should be more equal. And I have no idea how they have to do it, but they should do it. So yeah.
It's interesting that you bring that up. I think earlier in the year there were some threats being made by some presidents of other clubs calling for a strike. Do you think there are any? Do you think there's a timeline for change? Is any type of new restructure, new deal, restructuring the payment imminent?
Well, like I said before, I think it is due, because it's been like this for too long. especially in recent years. It's just been the 2 hours race you guys like to call it, and well, it is like that. It is kind of boring. I mean, every year you've got a team like Atletico Madrid, or this year you've got Real Sociedad, who almost have no money at all but still perform well. But they can never compete in the long term with us because they don't have any money. It's simple. They can have one good season and then they lose all of their good players. Atletico Madrid now will definitely sell Falcao as well. Yes, they will get a lot of money for it. Yes, they probably will get another good striker for him, like they've done all these years in the past. But it's still not fair. We can build on the experience our team has over the years. Even though a team like Atletico Madrid is great, they can never compete with us on the long term unless it all changes. And about that strike you mentioned, I'm not sure if a strike is the right solution. Of course, I never favor a drastic solution like that, but maybe it is due. It's just not fair to see all the money go to the 2 biggest clubs. So yeah.
Sorry. I guess that we can go out into personal questions on how you became a Barcelona fan. So let's start with that question.
Right. Well, actually, when I started to play football, I supported one club in Belgium. That's Club Brugge, and that was because all my friends were fans of Anderlecht, who are the bitter rivals of Club Brugge, and I always like to do the opposite. So yeah, the same was going on for Barcelona. When we got a little bit older and we started to support bigger clubs. From Spain, from England, from Germany. Everyone liked Real Madrid, and it was the era of Johan Cruyff as the Barcelona coach. And I started to support Barcelona back then, not because I liked them immediately, but just because everyone else was a Madrid fan. And in the end, it was a great choice because they really appealed to me every year, and time and again, I think, well, this is the club that fits me, the club that, is the way I would like it to be, the way it is run, the way I would like it to be. They play the kind of football I admire. They have the kind of players I admire. So yeah, that's gradually my simple choice became a really great choice, and I just became more and more convinced that I was a real Barcelona fan.
Who's your favorite player, really, in the team?
Okay,
or it could be past teams. Sorry.
Well, my favorite player in the beginning was probably Guardiola. When Cruyff was coach, Guardiola was our captain, and Guardiola was the kind of player Xavi now is. He was a controlling midfielder, perhaps a bit more defensive than Xavi, but he was the kind of player I strive to be as well. The controlling player, always composed, intelligent, a leader, has fantastic ability to pass the ball, and then determine the flow of the game. So Guardiola used to be my favorite. Right now it's probably Xavi or Iniesta. Of course, I can't say I dislike Messi, but it's too easy to pick Messi. So I'll probably pick Iniesta.
Okay. Your favorite match of Barcelona?
The 5-0, of course. And there was the Manita against Madrid. That was a real classic. I saw it live, as I always do actually. But that 5-0 was just one of the most amazing feelings I've ever had. Oh, actually, the game against Chelsea, the controversial game against Chelsea, where Iniesta scored a late winner. That was one of my favorites as well. You just go from hell to heaven in a second, and that's a fantastic feeling.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you actually mentioned briefly that you're also a fan of Dortmund. Would you mind telling us briefly what's attracted you to Dortmund and why you like them so much?
Just like I became a fan of Club Brugge and Barcelona, I became a fan of Dortmund because everyone was supporting Bayern Munich. All my friends were Munich fans or Madrid fans or Anderlecht fans. So I thought, who's the biggest rival of Munich? And there's a small club at Munich called 1860 Munich, but weren't even in the first division when I started to support Dortmund. So yeah, I went for Dortmund, and they were just hitting rock bottom actually at the time I became a fan. They were as good as broke, bankrupt actually, and then a guy popped up who took over the club and made it big again, and he's a real hero for me. He's Reinhard Raubal, and those two guys have really made Dortmund what it is today. They used to be a fantastic club, then they were almost bankrupt. They restructured it all. They attracted young players. They used their own youth, and now they're one of the biggest clubs in the world. Just not a decade ago, they were almost goners. And every year since then, I became more and more of a Dortmund fan. Since Klopp took over, of course, I started following them more intensively. And thanks to FootyTube and the great Dortmund fans there, I became more and more convinced that Dortmund was another club I really liked. There have been 3 weekends as well where I took friends to Dortmund to watch a game. I've been to Barcelona as well, of course, but Dortmund is pretty nearby from where I live. So going there and watching one of their games just made me more convinced that I am a real Dortmund fan as well.
Well, one Dortmund figurehead that's kind of been in the news recently is Klopp. He's taken Dortmund through a huge change. Could you describe the difference between Dortmund before Klopp and how he's brought them to where they are now?
Jurgen Klopp was a coach that was attracted to really guide a new project. Joachim Watzke and Raubal started into the right path. Klopp was an up-and-coming manager. He was at Mainz for, I believe, 7 years before that. He was a Mainz player for 11 years before that. And right after he retired as a player, he took over at Mainz, who were never in the Bundesliga before. He took them to the Bundesliga, even took them to the top 7, I believe, in the Bundesliga in his last year. And then Joachim Watzke saw the perfect manager for a new club like Dortmund in him. So they asked if he would come over on a long-term project. He did, and the rest is history. He's a fantastic manager. He's just perfect for us, and he's guided the club to unparalleled heights. I think the club is now at its best ever. They won the Champions League in 1997 as well. I think this team is even better than it was back then.
Okay. Now, finally going back to our previous statements on Pep and now recently joining Bayern Munich, how do you feel on that? Is that a good move for Bayern, going in the right direction? And now he previously bought Mario Götze from Dortmund. How do you feel on those two? Since you're a Barcelona fan as well, how do you feel on those two situations?
Yeah. Well, I'll talk about Guardiola. But Guardiola, in the summer of 2012, it was announced he would be the Bayern manager next season. And back then I thought, he's a great choice, but unfortunately, their current coach has to go because, of course, Guardiola is coming over. And I think no one expected him to do so well this season. What's his name again? The Bayern Munich coach. I can't believe I forgot that. Come on. Help me out, guys.
Jupp Heynckes?
Yeah, Heynckes, right. Jupp Heynckes. Well, Heynckes, he was a great coach in the early 90s and the late 80s. He won the Champions League as well then with Bayern Munich. But I thought he was actually done for. I thought he's too old. His football philosophy is outdated. And I didn't expect Bayern Munich to be this good this year as well. But they're probably going to win the German Cup. They already won the Bundesliga. They have a good shot at winning the Champions League. So yeah, right now I think it's a bummer that he's gonna leave, because even Guardiola cannot do better than what he did, of course. And the thing is that Guardiola has his football philosophy, which is quite different from what Bayern apply right now. Bayern is the club that dominates physically, that pressurizes well, well, they can do everything. They have a great defense, but the defense also starts with their first striker. Their midfield is probably the best in the world right now. So, well, it seems very difficult for Guardiola to improve that team further. Perhaps on the long term he can make them better, but I think next year will be a tough year for him, just because this year's Bayern Munich is so good. So I'm not sure if it's the right thing to do for Bayern Munich to replace Heinkes with Guardiola, but last summer it certainly did seem the right move. So yeah.
Okay. I'll just ask one more question before we end the show, and that is usually something related to United. So
Okay.
So we have our current crop of players, and Barcelona have our also crop of class players. But who do you want from United in Barcelona? My opinion.
I think Barcelona really doesn't need any midfielder or even a striker from United, but we could use a guy like Vidic or even De Gea, your goalkeeper, because that's an area where Barcelona is currently really lacking talent. Vidic is a natural defender, and we don't have anyone like that except for Puyol, who is, well, he's 35, almost 36, and he's constantly injured. So perhaps, yeah, Nemanja Vidic seems like a good choice, even though he's De Gea, he's Spanish, he's a great goalkeeper, he has had a fantastic season, and Valdez is leaving, so either De Gea or Vidic.
Okay, and adding to that, we've also heard that Wayne Rooney will possibly leave United this summer. Would you welcome him to Barcelona if given the chance, or no?
I welcome every player our club attracts, because it's a duty as a fan to support our players. But I just don't think we need a guy like him. Perhaps because he's such a determined and hard-working player, it might be a good transfer. But I just don't see a guy like Wayne Rooney. He's a typical English bloke. I just don't think he'll adapt to Barcelona. And you need to feel good in the city you live in to play well as a player, and I don't think he'll fit in into a country like Spain.
Okay, perfect. And with that, we'll go ahead and end the episode. Just want to give a special thanks again for Jeroen for coming out tonight. And
my pleasure.
Yep, and this has been a pleasure from all of us at United Fancast. I'm your host, D Grant 117, or Darren for short, and SIF and me will be saying goodnight. Thanks again.
Yeah,
all
thanks
right,
for
see
coming
you.
out.